Dave Ertl here, Senior Employment Lawyer and founder of Ertl Lawyers. In this video, I'm going to discuss what you should be looking out for if you receive a severance package. I also recommend that you download our free guide called Understanding Your Severance Package. The link is below in the description to this video. Here we go. Now, a termination letter or severance offer will usually include a deadline. The employee is told to accept the severance package by the deadline or they'll forfeit some compensation. Now, there's no law that determines how long that deadline should be, but it should be something reasonable, probably nothing less than a week. Now, don't panic. In the vast majority of cases, the employer's first offers, it's not usually its best, nor does it represent an employee's full entitlements at law. However, by adding the pressure of a deadline, a number of employees will sign out of fear. Now, if you sign it, you could be giving up significant entitlements. Having said this, if you want more time to consider your severance package, then ask for more time. Any employer acting reasonably will give you more time. Or at least get a hold of a lawyer as soon as you get your severance package. The termination letter should set out the employee's statutory or contractual entitlements and then clearly set out the additional severance pay the employer is offering. Another way to put this is, you should know what you are automatically getting, even if you reject that offer. Now, an employer can give you either working notice or pay in lieu or a combination of both. You should understand that both count towards your overall notice period. Now, if you are provided with compensation, it's usually expressed in terms of weeks or months. Now, if you are curious what you might be entitled to, we've posted a link to our severance pay calculator in the description below. Severance is typically paid out as follows. 1, as a lump sum, and that's where the employer gives you a sum of money all at once. 2, as salary continuation, in which case the employer pays the severance in installments, just like you were continuing to work there even though you actually don't show up for work. Or the employer can pay as a combination of lump sum and salary continuation. With a lump sum, advantages to the employee might be, once the employee is paid, the employee doesn't need to worry about the financial circumstances of the employer. 2, a lump sum may have certain tax advantages. For example, the possibility of splitting the payment over different calendar years and directing money into an RRSP. Also, if the employee starts at a new job, normally the employee does not have to pay back any of the lump sum payment they received. Now, with salary continuation, advantages to the employee could include, it's a steady stream of income. Typically, benefits are continued, and usually EI and CPP contributions continue to accrue. In many cases, the employer will try to calculate your severance on your base salary only, but in the absence of clear contractual language to the contrary, employees are normally entitled to the commissions and bonuses they would have earned had they been given proper advance notice of their termination. In other words, let's say you should have been given 4 months of notice or pay in lieu. Then you should be entitled to whatever bonus or commissions you would have received if you had actually worked those 4 additional months. Certain benefits like group health benefits must automatically be continued for a certain minimum period of time according to employment legislation. Usually it's a maximum of about 8 weeks. However, the common law says that the employer is supposed to continue all forms of compensation, which include benefits, for the entire notice period, which is often much longer than what employment legislation provides. Same thing here. If you ought to have received, for example, 4 months of notice or pay in lieu, then your benefits ought to have been continued for that same period of time. There's a caveat, however. Whereas employers can generally extend certain benefits beyond the statutory minimum, such as with basic group health and dental, they may not be able to do so with other types of benefits, even if you technically have a right to their extension. Why is that? Well, often the language of the benefits policy or insurance policy doesn't allow extension of those benefits beyond the statutory minimum period. This is generally true with life insurance and disability insurance. So speak with your insurance company immediately after your termination to understand how your coverage is affected. And then speak with an experienced employment and disability lawyer to understand your rights. Most employers will continue the pension only as long as the statutory minimum period, And this is particularly true if the employer is paying you a lump sum severance package as opposed to a salary continuation. Now, since a loss of pensionable service time can drastically affect your pension entitlements, you need to pay close attention to this portion of your severance package. You may be entitled to far more than you think. This is particularly true with a defined benefit pension. Don't take any chances. Speak with an experienced employment lawyer to understand your rights. Sometimes an employer might ask you to sign a non-competition agreement or a non-solicitation agreement in order to get your severance package. But a severance package is meant to address the notice period you are entitled to, not to impose additional terms that you didn't agree to at the outset of your employment. If the employer wants to saddle you with future obligations, it's not fair, and you should be seeking legal representation. The employer will almost always include a release with the severance offer. Basically, in order to get the severance package, you'll need to sign the release. But by signing a release, you're giving up any further rights you have against your employer. Remember, never ever sign a release without understanding what rights you're giving up. Speak to a lawyer. And those are some of the most important things you should be looking out for in a severance package. Once again, I'm Dave Ertl, Senior Employment Lawyer at Ertl Lawyers. If you've been handed a severance package and you want to know whether it's fair or not, give us a call. We'll help you understand your rights. Our help can make all the difference.